Well, good evening. Thursday night already. Where's this week gone? What's everyone been up to? And how's your week? Come along, inbox me. Let's get the chat going. Again, it is your hour. And again, enjoyed tonight's reading, and thank you for me reading off Ellie. Much appreciated. It's not very often I get readings back as well. So, oh, come on, Alison. You started off there. Flying colours. Flying colours. Again, it's an open mic. It's an open hour. What shows have you been watching? What have you come across this week? What have you experienced? Hello, Rach. Hope you're all right. I will contact you after 10 o'clock, Rach. Hello, Libby. How's things? Again, just talking everything open generally in and around the paranormal world, the spiritual world. What have you come across? How do you work? Do you see through your mind's eye? Do you see the seeing it? Do you see, how do you work? Let me know. Come along, let me know. Has anybody experienced or asked for miracles to happen in and around using the universe out there? Has miracles happened in and around you? Type your stories up. You want to come on, come along. Let's get involved as well. Also, there are a few little notes I've made. Let's see where else we was going as well. Has anybody experienced any psychics or any mediums that's gone along to any unsolved cases? That's always a good topic. And what was the other one I was looking at? Meditation. Where do you go on your meditation? What suits you best? What works with you best? Any techniques that people want to share out there? Put the questions on. Let's get some interaction. I think we ended up talking to Nick in USA last week on the back end of that. I will send him over some dates, and we'll get the lovely Nick on for an hour one evening as well. Hi, Nikki. Hope you're all right. Fire away some questions and see where we're going. Anyone wants to come on, I'm sure our lovely moderators in the background will send a link over and you can come onto the screen as well. Also, one thing that always comes around on my spiritual path is the Knights Templar. So Knights Templars, any stories locally to you? Give us some interaction with that. Give us some stories that you've heard as well. Anything that's happening in and around you as well. See where we're going. Oh, Rachel. Now this is what I love. This is what I love. Dreams. I have got a question written down about dreams. I had a dream that my dad joined me on a train, and I heard Harrison in the background. Woke up, wrote it down, that we're going to call the baby this name. Wow. Obviously, our lovely Rachel is expecting very soon. So, again, bringing the name into spiritually, that little things like that that's happened as well. That's fantastic. All stuff like that. It's just, to me, it's all mind-blowing where it comes from, and the power of the universe out there as well. So let me see. What's your best location? What's your favourite place that you like going to? Where do you like walking? Do you have a very an open woods that's quite dark or heavy or quite spiritual as well? Like, what's the word I'm after? See it back in the times. So when you go to these woods and forests, has anyone been to Sherwood Forest? I know I'm certainly, that's on one of my lists to get to and do some investigation down there. Yes, I was on to that, Rach. It means the son, if Harry, your dad's name. Hello, Barry. How's things? Rachel, I know we've had some quite good things linking in spiritually ourselves when we've worked over the past and you've been to development classes. Some of the stuff that you bring to the table is quite mind-blowing as well, how other people work as well spiritually. Again, so Rachel's had some amazing energies in and around there, sees a lot of spiritual energies. We especially had a few in the liver buildings, didn't we, Rach, when we went there, went to do a live on Christmas Eve, last Christmas Eve. And just to say, best wishes to everyone. And when we was up in the lift, all the alarms started going off, so the lift cut out. And again, as we were walking around the Liver building, we virtually, Rachel was seeing the spirits and I was describing the spirits as well. So we had some good interactions around that famous landmark as well. And also what surprised me when I actually got into the Liver building, it's actually hollow in the middle. So it's just the four corners of the building, and the inner platform is empty, which surprised me as well. But could see a lot going on from its time back in its days as well. Good evening, Mark. How are you? Hope you're well, young man. Tell me some stories. Give me some good interaction. Type them up. Anyone wants to come on, let me know. You're not bad, Barry. Excellent. Oh, not been to Sherwood Forest in years. Hopefully I will get there very soon. Sherwood Forest as well. And that reminds me of Sherwood Forest. Reminds me, just even walking around, you're sensing spirits coming in really close, because they want to know what you're up to. They want to know what you're doing there as well. Again, so it's just it's always amazing and mind blowing as well. Let's see. Has anybody come across any witch trials as well? Let's see when we're going. Yeah, I can't wait to get out and about as well. Our lovely Alison, what have you put up? Are you going to come on, my little Welsh lady? Are you going to come on and interact with us? There's a certain place we walk the dogs and you just know where you are being watched. Yeah, over your shoulder all the time. And again, I know Aaron sends me photographs and inboxes me pictures of when he's out walking his dogs, when he's out doing a walk as well. He'll always say, what you're picking up on this, Gary? And he's like, yeah, I sense that as well. So when you're having the interaction of when even Aaron sent me inboxes a picture when he's out having a little walk of an evening, you can sense spirit, and it's even good just getting a yes or a no around the male or a female as well when you're actually looking in a picture or a photograph as well. So again, I always do like to say it's nice to be there. And it's always nice when you give something that other person recalls that they sense that same type of energy in and around when they were experiencing that walk or taking the photograph as well. So when you go, let me know. It certainly will. Certainly will. What it is as well, Mark, with Sherwood Forest, I know there's a visitor centre there, and virtually, I feel just virtually get there, drop everything, go for a walk, and I think it'll be quite amazing straight away what we pick up on and what we find out there as well. Another topic: can anyone explain the Holy Grail? How do you perceive the Holy Grail? What's the Holy Grail to you? Is it like in the films? Is it of that sense? Who's your highest white light that you look up to within your energies in and around that you working with as well? The universe, what's beyond it? Come on, type some questions up, folks. We're 10 minutes in. Let's get the questions going. Good evening, young man. Hope you're well. Hello, Gemma. Hello, Lee. Type away. Give me your experiences. Come on. Again, it's your hour. The paranormal, and also what I wrote down is telepathic. Do you think spirits can telepathically call you there to a location, telepathically work with you before you've even got to that location? Have you sensed that spirit? Have you sensed that energy? Have you had the link prior to going to a location? Have you seen anything in your dreams and then you've gone to a location and it ties in for yourself? Quite a few good mediums have had that again, and certainly working people that's sensitive. I do know some of their stories as well. Rachel seemed to visit you during your dreams. You get a message of certain people and you've got to pass it on to them. Yeah, as again, when the time's right as well, Rachel, I suppose. It just wouldn't be off the cuff and out the blue. I know you would give that in the right time, in the right place. parallel universe. The scientific way for that, I haven't got the answer, but I do believe there is a shift. I think there's a split in the universe. I do feel that there's either time slips. I do feel there's slots or gaps in the universe. I think I was watching somebody talking last night where they say, how come we can always go back in time on portals, and how come we can go back on time on time slips and stuff like that? And I'm always thinking, if we can go back, we've got to be able to go forwards. So there's got to be some type of time travel there. So again, I just think it's pockets of energy that the parallel universe as well. I just think there's got to be more there where we've not even tapped into. Here we go then, elementals. Can you go into an elemental bit of details about them? Yes, Ricky, come across quite a few. Sometimes they can portray themselves as shapeshifters. An elemental can portray itself as a ferocious animal, an entity, something that's not lived on the plane. Again, I think a lot of it's trying to over-empower itself for you to feel the lower energy around what it's trying to portray itself as. So in and around elementals, tell me your side of what you've experienced. I'm not an expert. It's only from what I've experienced of when we've caught things on camera and photographs, and it's portraying itself as a ferocious animal, and then we've got like a Doberman dog around our feet. Elementals, again, I think a lot of spirits can play a lot of mind games on the session where you're up to on the investigation. And again, I think 9 times out of 10, they will test your team that's in and around you. So again, sometimes you've got to me, work with not let it be too overpowering, and have your protection up where it's that balance where you're open to receive and work with any energies or elementals or anything like that, and then take it from there. But great question. I will I'll put that on the end of this, the photograph from Drakelow tunnels, okay, and a few pictures that people have captured, seeing and drawn them, and then obviously photographic evidence as well. So again, also as well with that, Ricky, I have seen a lot of things crawling around ceilings and coming in and playing, and again, it all depends where you are and what's going on in and around that energy as well. So again, I do feel everything is down to energy. You can't decide, Nikki, feeling of being drawn to a location or just being keen to go because it looks like a great location. You're not sensitive, but there's certain places you do feel that you really need to go to. Yeah, I had it years ago, went to Hat Green, had some amazing evidence down there. And again, a lot of spirits feel settled when you've talked and communicated to them as well. So I've had some good investigations where that location you get drawn, it's like, I've got to go, I need to go, I've got to go. So always get drawn to that as well. Always run with it. I always say run with it, go with the flow. One up from Rachel again. You've gone past place and you just knew you've had to stop, have a look. Need to go inside. Your gut saying to you, your gut saying no. Also as well, sometimes I've been on an open walk around and say we've been with our Linda and we've just gone past the stately home or something, and I'm like, second window on the left. Linda's took a photograph. Can't see it visually because it's the daytime. Then all of a sudden, have a look at the photographs when we get back, and lo and behold, there's spirit energy in the window. So you always get drawn to where that energy is as well. Sometimes you can hear the crying, the screaming as well. So, let's see. Anybody had any miracles happen to them? That's what I'd like to know in and around the spirit side of things. Has anybody had any spiritual healing sent? Psychic surgery, that was another topic somebody asked me about the other day. See where we're going, Dennis. How's our Dennis? You had 2 dreams. I would always safely say, write your dreams down, right when you wake up, write them down. Sleep paralysis, that's quite strong, that, when that happens. So again, I always say, when you're at that sleep state of mind, when you're just nodding off, that's when spirits will come in really close. And as soon as you're nodding off, and that's where you're open to receive as well. So I think early on in your relaxing state, before you go into sleep, that's where I think in the first part of your sleep pattern is where you'll be more open. Much recently, due to anxiety, yeah. Ask your team, take the anxieties away at night for the next day as well. Your guide and your team will work with you. If you want to click on the link, come and join me. Thank you for that. Let's just see what Ricky's got there. Very quick experience while myself and a friend were on the outside of an invest. The whole attitude change, and he lost complete sense of direction. A field from another lane. A kind of human shape, it felt more menacing. My friend snapped back in a sense, and we were respectively walked away. You can get that as well, Ricky, as well. And they're the things that we go out for as well. And even on a break, even outside the hub or just outside a location, you will get things going on and interacting. So even sometimes when I go outside for a bit of fresh air, you'll be picking on stuff that's going on as well. So always have your wits about you when you least expect it as well, is what I would say with that, Ricky. But again, it's always good when you've got a couple of people there, because you're there to guide that person if they have that type of experience. So that's always good, that you're open to receive, but you're there helping and supporting as well when it's going on. So I would safely say, even till you get in the car at the end of the night on an invest, expect the unexpected. So again, great question. Thanks for that. Hi, Bazzer. Just jotted down too quick there. Oh, lovely Bazzer. I seen a nice photograph that looked the split of you the other day, and I was laughing my head off. Alison, God, yeah. Do you know what? I always get drawn to your back garden, Alison, when you put a few pictures on, and I'm like, there's loads going on outside your property. A lot going on in your house, voices, footsteps, and things going missing when you and then turning back up. So I'm just asking now, I'm just trying to think around that, Alison, is where you can have a certain item when you're in a rush for it. And I know a lot of people mention car keys, but I do feel it's slowing you down as well sometimes. So when you have lost stuff, again, sometimes it's spirits just play their games. They do what they want to do. Had a few astral projections as well, and that's Aaron. And do you know what? When we've been on an investigation and we've had a quiet night, I think one was in the spirit house, and then Aaron drew a picture of the spirit energy that was quite around us all the night, and there was a lot of sadness around the picture, if I remember, but you could understand why it was a quiet night for that session. And again, it's nice how that ties in, is where people can do the drawings. It just fascinate me, the drawings. I've got to do some meditation and see if I can get into that a little bit. It's all Rachel put now. She has footsteps around the bed at this stage. The loft door open aggressively in the light in the bedroom. On for a while. Is this in your new property now, Rach? Because I think the energy that was going around your bed prior to the old property, I think you linked in, and we linked in with that last time, didn't we? What was going on there? Good evening. Rachel says she's a Mancunian, but I don't believe her. I don't think she's a real Mancunian. Right. What's up, everyone? Where are we going now? What would you like to talk about? Put some questions down. What I written down about the dreams before was the dream state of your mind. Does anyone see past lives? Does anyone see a part of their dreams in and around spirits coming in, working with you, and then you can't go past a certain chapter? Because that's quite interesting. And I believe that's a time slot where that can expand. So when that can expand and you're ready to go the next step or the next chapter, they will give you that information as well. Let's see where we're going. Yeah, thanks, Alan, for the picture. Hello, Chris. Anyone wants to join me, click on the link, come in, ask your questions away. Hopefully our Rachel's put a good face on tonight and she's ready to do battle with me. Come along, click in. Hiya, Dave. Hope everyone's staying safe out there as well. Shadow entity, like it. And to be honest, half the time when you're seeing shadows, corner your eyes and all that, and picking up on what's going on, you're never far off the mark with the energy, are you? Never far off, male, female, young, old, boy, girl. And again, we've had some amazing shadow people come along and work with us, haven't we? And I always remember at Margam Castle with that laser grid and the whole pen, when we asked it at the end of the night, take the laser grid pen to where you stood, and all the shadow went onto the outline of that courageous person in them boots. I think it was right at 10 minutes before we were finished. And did anyone get that? Anyone get any pictures? And everybody's batteries had died. The cameras had all gone. That was a phenomenal night. That's one of the amazing nights of shadow people being shown by themselves and coming in and interacting. So virtually pulling an energy light force onto itself. That was amazing to see. Rachel, tell me more about the Liver building as well, Rach. Tell me more about the spirit energies there. Is it possible to connect to what's going on in other psychics' lives? Yes. I would say what happens is sometimes some people go quiet. They're dealing with what they need to deal with. Spiritually, they will get shut down as and when they need to, even if it's for an hour, 2 hours, 2 days, 5 days. There's always an undercurrent, so just go with the yes or no. Ask the question in your mind. You usually get a yes or a no from your team. So your team will guide you if you're concerned about somebody, what's going on there, and where are they up to with things spiritually. They'll let you know. Your team will work with you. Trust your team. Who's going to be first to click on the link? Come on. Our lovely Mancunian, have you put your good makeup on tonight? Come on. Dreams. A whole podcast on dreams. Advancement of dreams. You certainly can, Ricky, as well. Has anybody had it where they always say years ago, people that would look out the window in school and be daydreaming. Has anybody actually zoned out for a set period of time, be it 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, and as if like time stopped in and around you? I've seen that quite a few times. And sometimes I haven't traveled on a train or a bus for a long time, but if you see certain people and you can see the state of mind that they're up to and what's going on in and around them, I'm not openly reading them. It's what my team's telling me about them. And again, it's quite bizarre. Has anybody had that state of mind where they think, oh my God, where's that hour gone? But in and around receiving stuff from spirit, or you're seeing a window open or a light corridor open. Come on, give me your experiences. That's just jumped down again, so I'm going to go back up to that. Shadows are spirits. Or David saying, your first experience was at Drakelow. Since then, most places. Again, with Drakelow, it is one of our favourite locations, but you will always receive some good interaction there, even if it's a quieter night, a colder night, a damper night. There's usually something going on. again, but it's always asking about having that experience. Doesn't matter where your first location is, ask for the interaction, even prior to you going there. Yeah, Rachel has a spirit that follows her in the liver building, self-known when you first got the job as well. You haven't done my hair. Well, just jump on then anyway. Anyone want to come on? Let's have the interaction. Yes, you usually do have plenty to say, Rachel. Rachel. Yes, click on it, Rach. Click away. Rach Worrell and our other Rachel Ashman Brooks. Always got plenty to say. Not very often I've kept her. She's been kept quiet either. All in good time. Let's go. I'm going to go back to a few of my notes as well. What is the making of a saint spiritually? Do you know of any stories in and around patrons? Do you carry the St. Christopher? Do you carry where are you going around what you trust around your beliefs as well? Come and interact me with your beliefs. I'm just trying to think. There was a known case, I think, back in Norfolk. There was a case in Norfolk in 1915. One of the most frequently reported stories of mysterious disappearances of certain soldiers from the Royal Norfolk Regiment. That was dating back to 1915. They're the type of places I like to go in and around to try and get to the bottom of what's going on in and around spiritually with certain things of the past. Again, I always see myself sometimes in the Victorian streets down likes of London, walking it in the corners of the streets, wrapped up, protected, past lives coming forward, that type of stuff. Let's just go back up. What have you missed? Not a lot, Rach. Click one of the two Rachels, click the link. Come on, let's have a chat. Ooh, Rachel saying there, spirit pushes past there. Shows itself as a black shadow and freaks your colleagues out as well. We've seen quite a few spirits there, though, definitely in that liver building. I love going there. Even before you enter the building, the whole waterfront is alive for me there, down by the Mersey. And again, when you go to the River Mersey, I'm just trying to think of the train station, James Street, they would have got the trade of the days of the times, the people that they didn't want to go back on the ships, they actually drowned them underneath the River Mersey. They drowned them under the decking and the docks there as well. So I can hear the screams sometimes when you go down there. So sometimes some places you can go to, you can hear a lot of spirits and a lot of souls coming forward for help as well. So sometimes you have to shut off where you get bombarded as well. So again, with the old heritage centres and heritage places, you do get a lot that comes very quick and very fast to you spiritually. Has anybody experienced getting flooded when you go into them types of locations as well? You know, like say Bristol in the docks or Southampton, anywhere like that. There's always a lot that comes alive very quick and very fast. We've got West Kirby up here, New Brighton. We've had quite a lot of pirates come through way back in the days, 1500s, 1600s era. So we've had a lot of experience as well around the coast. Has anybody had any interactions walking along the beach, anything like that around your coastal areas? Where are we all tuning in from as well? Oh, yes, definitely. Dennis, what would it be like to investigate your place of work? I tell you where it interests me as well, Dennis, is with the Royal Mail in London and all the tunnels and tubes and stuff like that as well. So I'd love to do some of the abandoned train stations and the tube stations as well. So that really does interest me as well. I worked for Marks and Spencer's a few years back now, but that was an old school, and we used to do the credit cards there, and we used to process the credit cards. But when we was actually in the building late at night and there wasn't many people around, so you getting towards knocking off time and finishing, that was quite an eerie building, a real eerie building. That was in Chester. Again, some history there, but again, I've had some interaction there as well, even when I wouldn't really be open to work. You know, you're talking 30 odd years ago where there's stuff going on and you're like, what's that? Corner of my eye. So I've had some experiences that's been quite unbeknown to me back in the day prior to me being open and working with this more. So again, sometimes even in an old abandoned, well, it wasn't abandoned school, an old school, you're still picking up on them sensitive energies that's going on in and around there. But the nature of the business, the building has changed, but you're seeing the building as it really was in its true form in and around the spirit side of it as well. But definitely I'd like to do a few investigations in places I've worked over the past. When I worked for Vauxhall Motors, there was always, originally in the 60s, it was an RAF base, and there's been quite a few stories of uniform gentlemen, RAF-based gentlemen walking through the night. And I must be going back now about 1996-ish, and we was working shifts, so it was late in the morning, 3-4 o'clock in the morning. Friend come down back onto the shop floor, and when you say to him, "You look like you've seen a ghost," he was speechless. He'd just seen a full visitation of this RAF gentleman that walks in and around the car plant of the day, but it was dated back to the RAF base of its time, which was very interesting as well. So where's our madam? Bring on madam. And this lady can talk. She talks for England. She talks a good talk as well, does RH. Seen half, just going to go on to Alison there. Seen half a girl once. Here she is coming through now. Be with you in a second, darling. I'll be with you in a second, Alison. Good evening, madam. How are you?
Good evening, everyone. I'm great, thank you.
You all right? Long time no see.
Yeah.
and it's funny how you inboxed me prior to doing the live tonight, wasn't it?
Well, yeah.
Bizarre. We've had some amazing interactions over the years, haven't we, Rach?
Yeah, I think one lesson really is just that it's been a journey, and like you start a journey and you really don't know what to expect. But, you know, it doesn't just all happen at once. It is like a stage by stage process. So yeah.
I mean, even where you're in your new property now, and I've been talking to you, and I could see another building over the road and linking into the land. How have you felt now? Do you feel more settled where you are now in this new property from your old property?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think since the move, I do feel like there was a little bit of negativity attached to me in the aura. I felt everything was quite black and dark, but now I'm in my new property, I feel it's quite light and airy. There has been like quite a few occasions where things have happened in this property, and it's not just been myself that's like experienced it, it's been my partner. So,
do you remember even when we was doing the little live video on Messenger, and then the glass moved across the table and your partner's face went?
Yeah, it did. We were literally not and well, there's a bit of a story to it. So things were going missing in the house, like quite random, and my partner bought 4 cans of beer, and he drank 3 of them, and he put the 4th one in the fridge. 2 days later, he said, "Where's that beer gone?" I said, "Oh, I haven't got a clue." And we've got 2 children in the house who are under 18 and myself. So I'm like, well, I definitely haven't drank it. So it went missing for about a week. And then we sat down having some tea. And he got himself another 4 cans and he put them in the fridge. And then he drank one on the table. It was completely empty. And the can literally just moved like an L shape. And we both like sat there like looking at each other thinking, like, what the hell? And me being like, you know, logical, I was like, right, is the floor wonky? Is the table wonky? You know, it was glass table. And then really funny, really strange, I went in the fridge for some milk, and there was actually 5 cans of beer. So the beer that went missing previously was returned.
It is bizarre, isn't it, as well? But even our time when we've gone out for walks, I can't remember the places we've been to, but especially when we went to the Liver building that time as well, that was just amazing energies around there as well, wasn't it? The Liver building.
Oh yeah, I mean, when I first got the job, I think I arrived at the dock, which was like near the Strand Road, and I think like in my mind's eye, I was seeing like the old, you know, the old carriages that pulled up like the Victorian times with the horses, and all I could see was these privileged men. And when I say privileged, I mean people who like are bankers, you know, getting out of them with the top hats and the the walking sticks, and you were like literally like going into the building, and I picked up with that straight away. And even if you go like towards the waterfront, there's lots of like hustle and bustle. There's lots of history around the docks. The war got heavily bombed, and I could see all that. It's a completely different place now, because the money and the investment. But I think when you're sensitive, you can like pick up on the movements of the ground and what's happened. But the Liver building, that's just like on another level. There's actually 10 floors on the Royal Liver. There's 2 sections with the two Liver beds sit Bertie, and I think the other bed sits on the left, which I can't think of the name. But yeah, there's 10 floors on each, and when you go up the floors, the higher you go, especially around 6, 7, 8, there's a very, very negative energy, and I'm very drawn to it. And I've had to go up there a few times, on like quite a few messages and things, send and post up, and I just straight away in the lift, I get to like 6 in the lift, and I just get this horrible gut feeling. I can't really explain it, but I just feel like, oh, it's like something like growling to say, don't go any further. And then I get out, and I literally rush out, do what I need to do, and then get back down. But at my offices are in the basement, and there's been a few little goings on, shall I say. And the things I picked up on, it was like, yeah, really strange.
Because when we went into the basement and I had a little look around, as soon as we come out that room and went into the cafeteria area, I felt we'd been watched by that gentleman, very broad gentleman, very well built gentleman, quite a heavy buckle on him, on his waist and all that. And I'm not too sure, I can't relate now whether he's up to that 5th, 6th, 7th or 8th floor. But I've been trying to get into Phil, the cameraman, because their Everton's actually offices are up there as well, aren't they? Their HQ's up there, Everton FC. Mm-hmm. And we've been trying to get into there, and they've been trying to do that for 2 or 3 years now. So there's a little bit of an exclusive, but we haven't tied it up yet. So I do know there's energy and spirits drawing us back in there as well. Do you remember when we went back, where you said about the bombings and all that? Wasn't there a street where you first had experiences going way back as well, where you could see it back in the times? And was that with you? Was it with your dad or a granddad, if I remember?
Yeah, it was Water Street. So there's 2 entrances to get to the dock. There's it's called Moorfield Station. One's Old Hall Street, and then one's Moorfields. So if you get off on Moorfields and walk down to the Water Street, I was picking up like very sensitive that I had a gentleman following me, and this went on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I was asking for his name, and he wouldn't give it, and in the end, I felt like it was connected to me, and I did have connections go as I went further down to the Titanic around like Liverpool docks. Now later on in my life, I found out that my granddad was heavily involved in Liverpool. He's quite a well-off gentleman. He has investments, and he would have frequently visited the Royal Liver, because the Royal Liver building was like a bank, and it was and it's quite strange. In 1917, I work in the vault, which is in the basement. Is the original vault that was there in 1917. So yeah.
Yeah, I think
things happen.
I was also drawn. I think the Titanic was 1912. Just talking about that, actually. There's my cup there. When I come out of James Street and I go to the Titanic building at the bottom, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I was always drawn to going in there, and it was getting refurbished once. And it's had like a multi-million-pound refurbishment. I mean, my mate's wife was the manager there, and I didn't investigate there. I was just asked to have a little walk around while it was going through the renovation, and that was mind blowing. And then I always thought I'll do a little topic on the Titanic, and before you knew it, within a month, I was in that building, and then I was in the Belfast docks as well within a month years ago. And it's mad how it ties in. And some of the energies around there is it is mind blowing what you can pick up when you go into the cities.
Yeah, definitely. I've picked up on things like, like slavery and stuff, and there was a lot of slavery back in that generation, and you walk past the buildings and the original like transcripts are on the building, and it's quite like outstanding, really, the history that's like involved in Liverpool. And like, what if you do visit it, you can, without reading or going to the museum, you can find so much about the place.
Even walking around, I remember years ago going to Stanley Dock Market on the Sunday, and that was just mind blowing, going to all them old mills and stuff like that as well. Have you ever felt anything walking around? I mean, I know you're quite good at backing energies off as well when you don't want to work with them as well. Where do you find yourself from where you are now to where you was when you first started?
Well, it was quite funny because on the start of my journey, I actually got a job in the National Trust, and the privileges of the National Trust is that you got free entry into all these beautiful properties. So I was quite a frequent visitor of like Durham Massey, Quarrybank Mill, Speke Hall, and I've had some really, really eye-opening experiences in Speke Hall when I worked there. We used to do like ghost hunts and things like that in the house, but because I was working there as a staff, I used to be on duty some nights, and that involved working alone, and there was nobody on the grounds, and there was nobody in the house except you, because all the staff had left. And when you go around the house, like looking each room, there's a certain room in Speke Hall which is negative, and even staff feel it. And there's things that have happened in the room where they've been pushed. They've had like visuals in the ears where there's dogs growling. There's dark shadows that appear in the corridors. And there's some energies, I just feel like I do walk into them, but I just say to them, no, I don't want to work with you. I know who you are. I know exactly who you are, but I don't want to work with you. And they seem to back off.
When you're talking about Speke Hall there, I mean, obviously we've touched on this in the past, where I've seen a little girl in the bedroom looking over the courtyard, the driveway coming. I could see coaches and everything coming down the drive. And as I felt over the years, it was like you knew it was like changing from Catholic to Protestant, or there's a Catholic visiting, change your top hat and all that. I could feel like the priest holes there and stuff like that. So you could feel over the years that they played the game. The owners of that building played the game. Oh, we've got visitors the Protestant, we've got visitors the Catholic, and they would change their perspective of the politics side of it as well. But you can pick up on the confusion of that spiritually with the religion side of it as well, spiritually, because you're like, oh, I'm getting bombarded by that symbol and that symbol. But the place is just amazing. If anyone's not been to Speke Hall, please go there. Do you know by the snooker room at the bottom?
Yeah.
And there's a tea room, isn't there, on the other side of that wall? There's like a bay window on the other side overlooking the gardens.
Yeah, it was used as Adelaide's office. I was just about to say, one of the things like I did discover with Speke Hall was that certain spirits warp into each other and do know each other. So there's like Adelaide, who was quite Victorian character, who was a landowner at the time, quite a strong lady. She was reared by an aunt, and she, she was really a good businesswoman. And I do think there's clashes between, going back even further to the Tudor times when, Henry VIII was on the throne, and it's just like confusion because you've got these strong characters and they just have to stay out each other's way.
What I found there as well around that tea room was I stepped on a skirt and I got told off. You're on me embroidery, you're on me dress, get off. And I'm like, what's that? And I've just had it really sharp, get off. And I'm like, what have I done? And it stood on a trail or it stood on that. And I could actually see her spiritually sitting down, relaxing at side on as well in that room. But when you went in that snooker room, it was like the men's room. It was like, shut up. We're playing billiards, and I do think there was quite a lot on the table there as well. But the grounds are very interesting as well, aren't they, on the banks of the Mersey?
Yeah, so I used to spend a lot of my time on the outdoors because I was an outdoor sport development officer at the time, and there was quite a lot of time where I did have to go outside, especially during the evenings and the night. It's quite interesting around the fishing pond. There's a lot of energies. Around the gardens, there's a lot of children's Victorian energies that come and go. I am aware, like in the woodlands, there's quite a negative energy, and if you do walk in the path of that energy, you're not told to get out. So
also as well, when you're going round Speke Hall in Liverpool, right by the airport, I recommend anyone go there. There's symbols in the wood, isn't there, and little hearing holes and stuff like that. There's holes cut out where you'd be in the courtyard. People will be openly talking, not knowing that they're being spied on, and you can even sense that spiritually. Is there a story about the bells going off as well? They used to have the old pull the ringmaster's bells, for the servants as well. When you walk past that and you just go down the stairs, it's just like, I think that's quite an interesting area as well.
Yeah, well, it's actually known by the trust because they are the preservation charity, so they're out to preserve everything. Them bells are actually disconnected and have been disconnected for some time because it would take too much money to restore them. But they do ring, and it is quite strong when they ring. And everyone's like, well, that time you're like, oh, what's that noise? And we flutter around the house to find out there was just nobody in the house at all.
When you worked for National Trust, was that about 7 years? I can't remember the top of my head.
Yeah, I think I was there about 4 or 5 years.
Did you ever get over to Lyme Park in Manchester on the outskirts?
Oh yeah, I was a frequent visitor to Lyme Park. Yeah.
Oh my word, the energy's in that place. Just walking round, and when you go down past the water and over to the mill at the back. The sorrow I just got when I walked in the mill was unbelievable in Lyme Park. But I do believe there's the children and people. This film's been made there, looking at the outside of the building. I can't remember the actual topic of the film, and the inside of the film was filmed up in Scotland somewhere. So the part of the building, but when you go in there, Lyme Park, all I can see is the children.
Well, I think you mean Quarry Bank Mill in Manchester. So that's an old mill, and there's a lot of children energies in the mill, because the children used to work from the age of 5 and 6 and upwards. Lost their lives.
Is that on the back of Lyme Park?
No, it's not connected. So it's the other side of Manchester. It's completely separate property.
Okay.
So Lyme Park is where Jane Austen novel come from.
Well, I just see so many kids in and around there spiritually. Where do you see yourself going then in the next 5 years spiritually?
I don't really know, to be honest. I'm just quite happy, just going with the flow. I don't ask a lot for things. I just receive things, and if I pass it on, then I pass it on. Most of the time I'm I'm spot on, or the person can't take the message, but then a month later they message me and say, oh yeah, you're really spot on. And it could be something. I get a lot of visitations in my dreams. I do dream things and I write them down sometimes because I don't know who it was connected for, and then I have another dream, find out exactly where I need to go with the message. I've had messages, where they've not been quite nice messages because it needs to be a time and a place to say it, when I just feel like the loved ones are not well, and it's basically pushing that person to make contact with the person, and then they normally make contact, and then they come back to me and say, bloody hell, I'm glad I've made contact because, you know, they're either, you know, not very well or passing away. And, you know, if you didn't push me, then, you know, I would never know really.
Yeah, and I know that's just helping support you in asking the next question. So when you've been seeing things or hearing things or whatever, it's like work with your team, ask the next question, which is always good. And that's just development. That's having the trust within yourself as well. Alison said there she's seen a little girl once in a white dress at the end of the night, asked, is this your white dress, in the museum, and had a tap from the inside of the glass. So sometimes in the museums there's items tucked away as well. Where would you like to go to then, Rach? Where would you like to visit? Have you had any visitations or anything? Or I mean, I've got to go to Bold Street. I was talking about this prior to lockdown in March last year. I was going in April, and then we had the lockdown. So I've been due to Bold Street a year last April to find this timeline and have a little look at this ley line and see where we can see this Victorian energies of going back in the past. Where would you like to go? Hello, everyone that's tuning in as well. I'll try and get to you as well as we're working through it. Not doing readings tonight. They were on at 7 o'clock. Go ahead. Answer the question, Rach. Sorry.
I do need to go to Belfast Docks. I've just got this, like, for the last 3 years, this desire to get to these docks, visit the Titanic Museum, because there's definitely a connection. What I can't work out, which I've had a feeling for some time, is, am I connected to the Titanic? Was I on the Titanic in my past life? Because I just know so much. I'm so, like, when you know, documentaries come on, I'm just so, like, into them and, like, finding out all about the different people's lives. And at the moment, I've even, like, looked at my surname to see if I'm connected, and I'm not connected. So, but it's just quite interesting. But I do feel like I have connection with witches as well. Some of them are quite dark, and some of them are quite white. And I do sense, like, you know, witches, like, in their past life. So certain psychics, I can feel whether they have, like, a witch connection. And I just don't know how I know that.
With the Titanic as well, part of my developments a few years back with a lovely Pete Jackson, we'd done experiments with, he'd written list names down of passengers, and that came through last week. I think we might have touched on it last week, but the Titanic does seem to be a strong, a disaster that touched everyone from the links of, I feel somebody knew somebody in and around what's gone on there as well. So you can always test yourself. I mean, I had the New York Times in the bathroom for years, the full newspaper article, and then I'd walk in the bathroom one day and I'd just get a name and I'd look on the list and there's the name, and you're just like, oh, it is mind-blowing how it ties in sometimes as well. Let's see where we're going now.
I'll let you go anyway. I'll hop off so that somebody else can come on and take over. But it's been lovely speaking to you.
It's all right, Rach. But as again, it's all about trusting yourself, isn't it? And asking the questions with your team. So you've done very well over the last few years. So give yourself a tap on the back and well done. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
You're welcome. Right. Thanks for lovely Rach there. Again, this show is all about you. It is interactive. Sometimes you just want to get things off your chest as well, in and around what you've experienced spiritually. Ask the questions that's been niggling away, and you think, God, I had that visitation 20 years ago, and I've just had a similar thing going on in and around then again. SJ was asking about my dad. Yeah, my old fella's okay at the moment, SJ, so thanks for that. Oh, let's see what she's got now. You saw the lady standing in the doorway of one bedroom in your mum's house, and you was only about 8 or 9. Again, I will always safely say spirits will give you what you're capable of receiving. Spirits will give you what you're open to receive. Sometimes I wouldn't expect a spirit to give you something that's over-shocking or overpowering or too much that you can deal with. That's what I've seen over the past. So when some people come to me sometimes and ask for help with in and around questions and guidance, it's all about trying to go back to where they were up to the period of when they've seen stuff, what age were they, and build forward with them of what they've seen when they were 15, what they've seen when they're 20, and experience of what they've experienced in the gaps as well, because what spirits are showing you is understanding as you're moving forward. They will give you more information as you're going down your life path. So in the next 5 years, and you're open spiritually, they will give you more to deal with as well. So again, it's the learning curve in and around spirit as well, I always find. Thank you for lovely Ali for me message and tuning in earlier on, if you're still there. Alan, see what he says. He sees family members. You can see grandmother link. Okay, I don't know if you meant our rates there before. Right, any more questions before we go? I know it sounds daft, there's nearly an hour gone as well. Again, I'm going to have a little look up and try and find a few more information about this disappearing squad from 1915 in Norfolk. I think it was 267, so 267 soldiers, or it could have been 267 Royal Marines or Royal Regiments. I'm going to have a little look at that and see what I can find. Certain things play at the back of your mind and then tie in, and it's just amazing how things tie in spiritually as well. So there's always a link, there's always a connection. SJ, when you were 6 months, you died for 5 minutes, convulsion. In and around, it could possibly be. I'd like to be in and around your SJ when I try and link in with that. Again, if you stand up in your front room now, ask spirits to push you forwards a little bit for yes, not too much. Be your own little pendulum, your own human pendulum, and ask them to push you back for no. You ask the question yourself as well. I did have, when I was 7 years old, I had the salmonella. I was very high temperature for about a month on death's door. So I think that's a lot came around for me in and around then. Then I had a neck and spine injury. And I think that enhanced stuff with the head injury that I had as well. So I think that brought that on more as well. So at the end of the day, to me, we never stop learning. Thanks for lovely Rachel for joining me. Don't be scared to jump on, even if it's not tonight and something you see in the week. Come in and interact with us as well. Let's see where we're going. We're all right for a couple of minutes. You know what I'm like for talking. If no one's been to Lyme Park, get yourself to National Trust and get there, as well as Speak Hall. Highly recommend it. And if you're over in that neck of the woods, get down to St. James's Cemetery, 1600s. That is amazing. Right. Any more questions before we go? Thanks for having you, Rachel. Pleasure. And again, this is like, tell us your experiences, which you've done, Rachel. You've explained a few things. It's not about me questioning you. It's me just asking a few questions to get what you've experienced to share as well, because sharing will help somebody else understand of what they're going through. They could be going through what you've experienced 5 years ago as well, and how you've dealt with things as well. Let's see. Is anyone scared of the original Ouija board? As again, mine doesn't come in the property. I had a young chap that was very inquisitive around what I do. I explained that I've got a board, but I keep it out of the property. And it was like, oh my God, I've seen a real board. And I said, well, any board can virtually be an Ouija board. It's how you use it, open, closing, balance and cleanse. Do it the right way. And then what you've got then is, it's all about control in and around working with the spirits. It's all about understanding your team, people in and around you. Some people say, I've not seen my guide. Who's my guide? Ask them yourselves. It's trust. Ask your team who's in your team. Ask them to show themselves as and when you're ready. So you might see it out the corner of your eye, your guide. You might see it in the mirror. Sometimes some people are having a shave and go, oh my God, I've just seen somebody else in the mirror. Ladies, be putting your makeup on, but ask again, don't get fixated with the mirror. always have somebody in and around you that can help you as well. So sometimes if you want to see your guide, ask them, drop the light in the bedroom, look in the mirror, ask your guide to show itself, ask your guide, ask your team to go hot or cold behind you on your shoulder. You'd be surprised how they work with you. They'll just give you that little, yeah, we're here. You might not see them, but they'll let you certainly know that they're there as well. Does anybody else want to come on before we go off? When you've had experience, was totally drained as well. Yeah, a lot of people do get that. A lot of people do go traveling in the night as well and wake up like they've got a paranormal hangover or they've got a hangover. Right. Rachel says one of her family members is a guide. Can't wait to go on the next investigation. Yeah, definitely, Jess. I'm SJ. Sorry, I'm at work, and we'll ask the team to work with you in and around that night and that evening as well. Right, I'm going to sign off, folks. We've been an hour and 3 minutes. I'm sure our lovely Karen wishes to put her feet up for an hour. Again, in the background, thank you for all moderators. Again, tune in. The platform's growing as well, so thanks for anybody that shared anything. Thanks for your interaction. Anything that you want to ask me now for next week, inbox me. You know, and again, platform's growing. It's all about, I want people jumping on where I can't get rid of you, and that's what I want. I want your stories. I want your time. There's a spiritual realm out there that everybody has experienced something spiritually in and around their lives. Let's share the experience. Let's share your stories, and that's what it's about. Your questions, more than welcome. That's what it's about. It's just giving you the time for you to have your say and what's on your mind. That's what it's about. Again, it's a lockdown Thursday. Again, we'll carry on and we'll continue. It's just a bit of interaction where we can keep going and get through what we need to get through. Take care, Bazza. Rachel, pleasure. You put your face on next week, or you better start now then, Rachel. Only joking, being kind. We have that love-hate relationship, don't we? Write down all your dreams as well. So I'm going to love you, leave you. Thanks a lot, chaps, chap and ladies as well. And it's been a pleasure. Again, the hour just flies. Speak to you soon. Good night. Stay safe. Rachel hates me.